Today on Inquirer. Transport groups end week-long strike midway following a meeting with Malacanang. Piston declares transport strike a major success. President Bongbong Marcos vows to ensure no loss of livelihood in the government's PUV modernization program. Entire police force in Negros Oriental relieved from their positions, days after the assassination of Governor Roel Degamo and 8 others. And Meralco projects power rates to increase in the next 3 months. Good evening. Transport groups are ending their week-long strike midway as they resume operations on Wednesday. To tell us more, here's Faith Argusino reporting live. Faith, tell us what led to the decision to halt the strike before the week ended.
Well, according to Manibela chairperson Marvel Buena, their group decided to halt the transport strike and have a discourse with the national government regarding its public utility vehicle modernization program. On Tuesday, Valbuena and Piston President Modi Florada had a dialogue with Malacanang officials. Initially, around 40,000 PUVs were expected to join the transport strike from March 6 to 12. Valbuena explained that they support the government's objective to provide comfortable and safe public transportation to Filipino commuters, but they only want the program to be inclusive and reasonable. Meanwhile, Piston declared that their transportation strike was a major success, saying that its impact has forced Malacanang officials to face both groups. He also revealed that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said he would review the Jeepney modernization program and its implementation. Meanwhile, Floranda said that the group demanded the cancellation of Department of Transportation Department Order 2017-011 Omnibus Franchising Guidelines and the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. This is during their meeting. Following this request, the Malacanang was pressed to review the contents of the OFG until December 31 this year. During the review, they also promised that drivers, operators, and commuters will be part of the entire process. Floranda said that although this is not yet a complete cancellation of the OFG and the phase-out program, it can still be considered an initial success because they have pushed Malacanang to respond and have proven the effectiveness and strength of collective action. Piston also said that if their call to scrap the OFG is not heard, the groups will be quick to launch a bigger transport strike. The group claimed that even only after 2 days, the strike paralyzed 80% of Metro Manila and 100% of its major routes.
And Faith, have there been any details bared so far about the agreements or maybe the promises made during the meeting with Malacanang and so far as the extension of the deadline for the Jeepney consolidation?
Well, according to both Manibela and Piston, the Malacanang promised to review the contents of the OFG by December 31 and that they will include drivers, operators, and commuters in this entire process.
And Faith, I was reading about this a few days ago because several local government units and schools across the country did announce a shift to online for its school and work operations, of course, in view of what was originally planned to be a week-long transport strike. As of the moment, have there been any announcements to reverse this?
Yes, actually, classes in Metro Manila public schools resume again on Thursday following the end of the nationwide Jeepney strike. However, as previously announced, the City of Manila said that the synchronous classes will continue until Saturday.
All right. Thank you so much. That's Faith Argusino reporting live. President Bongbong Marcos says the government would ensure that no driver would lose their livelihood under the government's public utility vehicle modernization program. Marcos says one of the concerns of transport groups brought up during the meeting with Malacanang was that jeepney drivers won't be able to acquire modernized jeepneys. The president also says he told transport groups that the government will restudy the modernization program to ensure that drivers and operators will not be burdened.
Ang problema na kanilang sinasabi ay baka hindi sila mapautang para makapagbili ng bagong sasakyan. Kaya diyan ang tinitingnan namin ngayon. Natiyakin na walang mawawalan ng trabaho dahil hindi nakapagbili ng electric vehicle pagdating ng panahon.
Meanwhile, the president says he hopes the cleanup initiatives for the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro will not take more than 4 months. He vows the government will expedite the cleanup, adding that the volume of oil spilled in the waters of Mindoro was less than compared to the 2006 oil spill in Guimaras, of which the cleanup took 4 months. Marcos says he has instructed the Department of Labor and Employment and the Department of Social Welfare and Development to aid affected fisherfolk.
Kasi yung mga mangingisda hindi makapangisda ngayon, bawal mangisda. Kaya wala silang hanap buhay, pinagtan natin ng Task for Work program. Dahil sila ngayon ang maglilinis. At binabantayan namin ng gusto, lahat naman.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri clarifies that there has been no talk or any warnings of leadership changes in the chamber, supposedly because of its low output. Zubiri was reacting to a news report saying he nearly lost his post due to his alleged lack of productivity. The report said it was also because of his failure to prioritize key legislative measures, such as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. In a statement, Zubiri denies these and says the article is a figment of someone's boredom. Zubiri explains that the Senate carefully studies every measure and thoroughly debates it to improve every draft legislation. Zubiri then blamed the delay in the passage of RCEP to the lack of support it got from the main sponsor herself, who is the chair of the Committee on Foreign Relations. Nevertheless, Zubiri expressed readiness to step down from his post if a majority of senators decide to elect a new leader. Next on Inquirer Today. Entire police force in Negros Oriental relieved from their positions days after the assassination of Governor Roel Degamo and 8 others. Senate panel report rules out sabotage and cyberattack in New Year's Day airport fiasco. And Meralco projects power rates to increase in the next 3 months. This is Inquirer Today. We'll be back shortly.
Ako si Alois Jill Cadilo. Currently, student ako sa UP, pero at the same time, nagtatattoo ako sa sining tinta. Personally, na nagpapatattoo ako, hindi ako ganun ka-comfortable doon. So, naisip ko, lahat ng hindi ako comfortable with, iibahin ko siya. Light lang yung curation ng space para hindi ka natatakot pag nagpapatattoo ka, lalo na't masakit kasi magpatattoo. Nag-start ako mag-tattoo, hindi dahil gusto ko mag-tattoo. Bale, gusto kong kumuha ng tattoo. Pero at the same time, hindi ko afford yung artist na gusto ko. So parang inisip ko, bakit hindi na lang ako magpaturo sa previous tattoo artist ko. Tapos, i-design ko yung tattoo ko and then ako gagawa sa sarili ko. Tapos, from there, yung una kong natatuan ay yung sarili ko din. So, mas naramdaman ko yung difference sa practice skin and sa skin nung ginagawa ko na sa sarili ko. Nagtatattoo lang ako sa apartment namin sa Kamuning. Tapos, marami na din kasi akong friends nagpapatattoo nun. Tapos at the same time, yung friends nila, gano'n. Hindi kaya ng space ko kasi sobrang liit lang talaga nun. Tapos mainit. Tapos, Ayun, lumaki na lang siya kasi nung nag-start akong mag-tattoo, somehow may na-meet akong mga other women artists. Tapos doon namin nabuo na parang women's space talaga siya. Ganun. Sining tinta kapag English, ink art, gano'n. Yung pinaka tagline kasi is malaya at mapagpalayang sining. Tapos, at the same time, yung artists ay puro women kasi marami sa clients ko previously nagkukwento na they don't feel safe kapag puro male yung artists nila, gano'n. May ganong stories. I want to take that scare away, gano'n, yung that intimidation. And the only way na I can do it is if we strictly create a space na women artists lang din talaga. Future, we want to be able to expand this industry na mas maging accepting siya sa women artists na gusto pumasok sa pagtatattoo. Tapos, at the same time, sa mga clients namin, we want to break stereotypes. Makakapasok ka sa mga work institutions na may tattoo ka, gano'n. Tapos, hindi ka madidiscriminate for it or walang notion of yung usual na iniisip nila na madumi yung balat mo. Mas accepting yung society sa people with tattoos and people who engaged in tattoos and piercings.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government and the Philippine National Police relieved the entire police force in Negros Oriental. This comes days after the assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Roel de Gamo and 8 others. The DILG has designated Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Amamagid as the new chief of the Bayawan City Police. Before this appointment, Amamagid was assigned to the Provincial Police Strategy Management Unit and Negros Oriental Police Provincial Office. On March 4, De Gamo and 8 provincial staff and constituents were killed in a gun attack inside the governor's residence in Pamplona Town, Negros Oriental Province. 16 others and 3 provincial officials were wounded. The Senate Committee on Public Services has ruled out sabotage and cyberattack in the New Year's Day airport catastrophe. Senator Grace Poe, who chairs the committee, says that the panel's inquiry found that no data had been compromised due to the airport fiasco. The incident had affected at least 65,000 travelers and canceled, delayed, or diverted around 600 flights. Poe subsequently endorsed for plenary approval the committee's findings and recommendations on the air traffic chaos at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. She says the committee recommended the urgent replacement and upgrading of critical equipment and the rollout of sufficient engineering guidelines and training of accredited engineers. They also recommended to support another communications, navigation, and surveillance air traffic management system in an independent location.
The January 1 system failure was indeed a confluence of factors and errors. Experts likened it to the planets aligning, albeit with an unfortunate consequence. Bihira pero alam nating posibleng mangyari ito at patuloy na mangyayari kung wala tayong gagawin sa mga problema ng air traffic system sa bansa.
The Energy Regulatory Commission announces that Meralco would be implementing an increase in its generation charge in the next 3 months. This is to cover the 1.1 billion pesos in generation costs arising from the Malampaya field shutdown in February. According to the ERC, the total adjustment should be 92 centavos per kilowatt hour, but the regulator says Meralco had proposed a staggered implementation from March until May. In the March billing, a 62 centavos per kilowatt hour increase may be reflected. Meralco says the rest of the needed adjustment will be applied in April and May, as cleared by the regulator. Meralco clarifies, however, that the total power rate increase for March has yet to be finalized. Generation charge is the cost of purchased power from suppliers and accounts for more than 50% of the total electricity bill. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin?
Hi Bay at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe, ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Kalat na ngayon ang balita na nagkakamabutihan na raw ang hunk actor na si Marco Gumabaw at ang award-winning actress na si Christine Reyes. Nakikitang magkasama at sweet na sweet daw ang dalawa habang nagbabakasyon sa Siargao. Kaya naman ang feeling ng kanilang mga fans, may something nang namamagitan sa kanila. Bukod sa namataang magkasamang nag-scuba diving sina Marco at Christine sa isang lugar sa Siargao, ay naispatan din sila na namimili ng mga gamit para sa kanilang mga alagang aso. Nakachikahan namin si Marco kagabi sa presko ng bago niyang pelikula under Viva Films, ang Baby Boy Baby Girl kasama si Kylie Versosa, at natanungan namin sa kanya kung sila na nga ba talaga ni Christine.
Basta we are kami ni Christine, we've worked together since 2015 actually. First teleserye ko, it was Tubigat Langis and kasama ko siya doon sa Tubigat Langis, and I can say that we have formed a good relationship, a good solid friendship throughout the years. And ayun, recently we've been very close. We've been working out together and hanging out a lot. So Christine is a very wonderful person. Sobrang click kami in terms of mga trip namin sa buhay, ugali namin, very complements each other.
So no label?
Ha?
Wala pang label?
Ano yun?
Nabingi si Mark.
Basta pag basta malalaman nyo naman kapag
Pero pwedeng magtuloy yun sa mas magandang relasyon.
Well, nasa sa kanya yun.
At yan ang Bandera Chika natin today. Thanks, Bay!
Maraming salamat, Irvin. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Beatrice Pinlac. Catch Inquirer Today live weekdays at 6 p.m. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.